Okay, today we're going to talk about marginal propensity to save, average propensity to save, marginal propensity to consume, and average propensity to consume. All right, so let's talk a little bit about disposable income and what that means. All right, so first off, you need to know what gross income means. Okay, gross income is not the same thing as net income. Gross income is income before your taxes. Okay. And then what's called disposable or net income, that is income after taxes. Make sure you understand the difference, right? Gross is before taxes, disposable is after taxes, right? Now, there's only two things you can do once you get your money. It's either you can consume it or you can save it, all right? There's the only two things you can do with your money when you have it, right? And income is going to have the biggest impact on savings. So what I mean by that is as your income rises, okay, your total savings will rise. So you'll literally save more dollars. But also, this is also a key here, okay? Not just will you save more money like in an absolute number, there's going to be a larger percentage of your savings that goes toward a larger percentage of your income that goes towards savings. Okay, so it's not just that as your income rises, you save more. It's as your income rises, a larger percentage of your income goes towards savings. And there's a really simple reason for this. Basically, you can only spend so much money, right? Like you're going to run out of stuff to spend it on. And so you'll save more and more money. So this next point under disposable income, it says as all incomes rise, we expect total consumption to increase. It does. Your total consumption will rise. Your total savings will rise, okay? But again, as a percentage of your income, the percentage of your income that goes toward consumption will fall, and the percentage of your income that goes toward your savings will increase. So like imagine, you're really, really poor, which most of you guys are because you're in high school right now, right? A very small percentage of your income goes towards savings. But as you get more and more money, a larger and larger percentage of your income will go towards savings, right? Just a couple of other terms you need to be aware of. This savings, it means that you are spending more than you have in money, okay? Or more than you have in income, I mean. So like, for example, suppose you make $100 and you spend $125, okay? Well, that's possible. You can do that, right? But the only two ways you can do that is either you're going to have to liquidate your assets or you're going to have to borrow money. So I can spend $125 if I only have $100, but I'm going to have to borrow $25 from someone or a bank, or I'm going to have to like sell some piece of property that I have that's worth $25. That's what it means to liquidate your assets. So like if you've ever gone to a store and they were having a liquidation sale, what that means is like the store is going out of business and they're trying to liquidate the stuff they have in the store. They're trying to convert it into cash. That's what liquidate means, is convert into cash. And so when they have a liquidation sale, they're actually converting assets into cash. And then another term you guys need to be aware of, break-even income. Basically, that's the income at which you consume all of your income. So if you're really, really poor, you'll be at savings, right? You'll spend more money than you have. But as your income rises, again, right, like a larger percentage of your income will go toward savings, a smaller percentage of your income will go toward consumption until finally you're at your break-even income where all of your money goes toward consumption. And then once your income rises above that, then some of your income will start going towards savings. So break-even income, like you make $100, you spend $100. That's what that means. All right. Now let's talk about a couple of terms: average propensity to consume and average propensity to save. You need to know these formulas. Okay. Average propensity to consume is the percentage of your income that goes toward consumption. Average propensity to save, percentage of your income that goes toward savings. You see those two formulas there, right? And you need to understand that formula down at the bottom as well, right? Since all of your money can either go toward consumption or savings, if you add your average propensity to consume to your average propensity to save, it should equal 1, right? So let me show you like a simple example here. All right, so suppose your income is $100. Okay, so that's your income. And I'm writing with my finger here, guys, so just, bear with me. Okay. And let's say that $80 is consumption, right? And $20 is savings, okay? So if that's the case, right, then my APC would be 80 over 100, right, which would equal 0.8 And then my APS would be 20 over 100, right? Which is 0.2. And again, sorry about the zeros, guys. Like, I'm doing my best here with my finger, right? But if you notice, right, my APC is 0.8, okay? And my APS is 0.2. So what that means, oops, sorry. Okay, APS is 0.2. So what that means is for every dollar I make, 80 cents of that dollar is going toward consumption. And for every dollar I make, 20 cents of that is going toward savings. And if you add those two together, right, you should get a value of 1 because, again, all money that's consumed is going to be saved. So you add those two together to get that. All right. Now, let's talk about the next term we need to know. All right. Marginal propensity to consume and marginal propensity to save. Right. So understand something. Just because we save or consume at some certain level now doesn't guarantee that we're going to save or consume at that same level as our income rises or decreases. So in other words, right, again, as your income rises, you're going to spend a larger percentage of your you're going to save a larger percentage of your income, and you're going to consume a smaller percentage of your income. All right. So what marginal propensity to consume tells us, think about what that word marginal means, right? It means the change in your total or the extra when you do one more, right? So your marginal propensity to consume would be, if you made one more dollar, how much of that extra dollar would go toward consumption? Your marginal propensity to save, if you made one more dollar, how much of that extra dollar would go toward savings? Okay. Now, our marginal propensity to consume, it gets smaller as you get wealthier. Again, because as your income rises, right, a smaller percentage goes toward consumption. Your MPS rises as you get wealthier because a larger percentage of your income is going to go toward savings. And again, since everything can either go to consumption or savings, if you add MPC to MPS, it should equal 1. All right, so to show you a simple example of this, okay. All right, here's another example of this. So suppose my income goes from, my income was $1,000, right? And it rises to $1,100. Okay, so now my new income is $1,100. And when my income rises from $1,000 to $1,100, my consumption changes from, say, we'll say 900 to 905. All right. So what does that mean? All right. Change in consumption over change in income. My change in consumption is $5. My change in income is $100, right? So my marginal propensity to consume would be 0.05. That's my marginal propensity to consume. So what that means is for every additional dollar I earn, I consume 5 cents of it. Now, what that also means is if my savings goes, or my consumption goes from 900 to 905, that means that my savings went from 100 to 195. All right. So that means that my savings change, or percent change, or my change in my savings is 95. My change in my income is 100. Okay, so 0.95. So what that means is for every additional dollar I earned, right, I saved 95 cents of it. So that's a really, really simple example. And that's a massive change between 0.05 and 95 compared to like what it was before. But that's okay, y'all. Like I'm just trying to give you like a really simple example here of how to apply these two formulas. Okay. Now, why does all this stuff matter? Okay. Why it matters is because all this stuff has an impact on consumption overall in the economy. Right. Now I'm showing you this right here. This is things that can change like the level of consumption or the level of savings, other than just like if you made more money. Okay. You can check this out on your own. In fact, actually, you know what? Don't even worry about this. This is like a really simple concept, and we're not even going to worry about this. So let's move on. Okay. All right. This is what matters. This is important. Okay. All right. So we have this thing called the multiplier effect. All right. And why is it called the multiplier effect? All right. Here's why. Okay. Suppose I spend $1 at I'm going to give Swati a shout out. So suppose I spend $1 at Swati's store. Okay. Now, Swati, if I spend $1 at your store, right, what is your income going to do? Your income is going to rise, right? It's going to go up. Okay. So Swati's income rises by $1 because I spent $1 there. Well, what's she going to do with that money? Well, she's going to spend some of it, right? So suppose Swati spends 90 cents of that dollar at, say, I don't know, Sondrick's store. Okay. Well, now Sondrick's income has gone up by 95 cents, and Sondrick is going to spend 95% of that at somebody else's store, and that's going to cause their income to rise, and they're going to spend 95% of that at somebody else's store, and that's going to cause somebody else's income to rise, and so on and so on and so on. So when I spend $1, it doesn't just increase Swati's income, it increases like all the people after her as well. So in other words, what I'm trying to get you to see is that there's a multiplier effect to my $1 spending, right? So for every time I spend $1, it doesn't just raise one person's income by $1, it raises the next person that money is going to be spent at, and then the next person and the next person. So that's what the multiplier effect is. Okay. So we have two multipliers. One is called the spending multiplier, and one is called the taxing multiplier. So let's talk about what each one of these tells you. Okay. The spending multiplier tells you, okay, and notice that there are several names for it too, right? You could see any of these names referred to on the AP exam. So make sure that you understand they all mean the same thing, right? Spending multiplier. Okay, what it tells us is how any change in spending, be it government spending, investment spending, exports spending, consumption spending, anything, can ultimately change aggregate demand and GDP. Okay, so so you see that formula there, right? It's 1/1 minus MPC. Okay, so let's use that formula really quickly. All right, so let's use that formula. All right, so suppose the MPC is, all right, so the formula is 1/1 minus MPC. Okay, that's the formula, all right? So suppose the MPC right now is, say it's 0.9, all right? So that would be 1/1 minus 0.9, which is 1/1 minus 1.1 minus 0.9, which would be 0.1. So our multiplier is 10. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that for every $1 that is spent, it's going to increase overall income by $10. Okay, that's what it means. Now, how does this have to do? What does this have to do with aggregate demand? Here's how it applies to aggregate demand. All right, so suppose we have real GDP down here, right, and price level up here. Okay, so aggregate demand is here. If I spend $1, right, I consume $1. AD is going to shift by $1. That's what it's going to do, right? But then that multiplier effect that we were just talking about is going to kick in, and AD is going to shift again. So that's what I mean by that multiplier effect, right? It increases incomes by more than $1, right? Okay, so that's the spending multiplier, right? The taxing multiplier is negative MPC over 1 minus MPC. So negative MPC over 1 minus MPC, all right? So again, if our MPC is 0.9, it'd be negative 0.9 over 0.1, okay, which is not negative 9. Okay, that would be our taxing multiplier. Now notice our taxing multiplier is a negative number. The reason why our taxing multiplier is a negative number is because taxes decrease disposable income, right? So if we increase taxes by $1, right, it's going to lead to a negative $9 change in the overall economy because it's going to lower one person's income by $1, and then they're not going to spend that money, which is not going to be spent somewhere else, which is not going to be spent somewhere else, and so on and so on. Now, if we reduce taxes by $1, right, then it would be negative 1 times negative 9, so that would equal 9, right? So what that's saying is that if you reduce taxes, it's going to increase spending, okay? Last little thing here, the MPC determines the size of the multiplier because of the formula, right? So that's always going to be true.